This is one of my really favorite things of the year because usually Father Andy is very funny.
I can say funny stuff if you want.
And then you've got Tom Dunn being very droll.
We can even name some of the light bulbs after you.
Nathan Scoggins.
What I lack in amount of beauty that Tom Dunn brought, I will make up for sheer heft.
And then a lot of it, like the business and theology professors, typically play it very straight.
And I'm hoping that our students, they enter the workforce and they rise, in their careers to become leaders. And of course, that's our goal here.
I always get so excited about meeting students as freshmen. I can't sleep the night before. I come into the classroom early and walk through the empty classroom. And it is as if every year they get younger. So this is the youngest group I'd ever seen. I thought I'd shown up like maybe at a middle school or something.
It's kind of like a Hobbit-like community. I felt like I was entering the Shire, and it was a very pleasant experience, really. And I mean that as a very high compliment.
This class was my first class that I ever taught, actually. I think I will say this class has always brought a big smile on my face, which is great.
I had class with most of these kids like yesterday, and I don't remember anything about them.
I think a number of these students actually wound up deciding, like they had one class and they decided to go into business.
They just struck me as a get things done, but still founded in their faith kind of class.
There's a lot of zeal and that there's a lot of desire to respond to the call to holiness.
They really want to be helpful, and they kind of jumped in with both feet. And that's one of the things that really stands out to me about this class.
Just over and over again, I've been impressed by this group that, and some of the quiet students who I thought like this student doesn't seem to have anything going on, and then they turn in these papers that were brilliant. Or
and just really see, like, as they're progressing in that work, how really solid of artists that we actually have. And then I'm seeing this stuff posted online, which is way better than I expected from them. And so then I get excited, like they're coming into my class next, and I gotta step it up for that.
Even though they were, as a group, they were respectful, I felt there were individual personalities that came out, and it was a very broad mix.
I remember Lucas Hamilton coming in, and he's like, "You surf?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Do you really?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." I felt like I was being interrogated. He's like, "All right, you're good. You can pass." I was very excited about that.
Kate McDonald and her, unbridled enthusiasm about everything was always kind of a memorable presence for me. One of the first, people who started arguing with me was Riley.
Riley Brown, because Riley's going to the Marines. So I think she actually legally has to know how to murder somebody. So don't make Riley angry.
Jacques. Okay, Jacques has been at the school for 7 or 8 years? And I have tons and tons of moments with Jacques that I don't think I'm allowed to tell any of those stories for legal reasons, because police were involved at least, I'm not going to say how many times, but let's say at least once there were police involved.
The business seniors, just an amazing bunch that I've loved to have had in class. Amy Ayala, who's a pure genius in my book, and Gigi Gould.
Remember Gigi coming in with her love of huge boxes of animal, like cracker things, like the fish, the animal fish.
With regard to the productions, I wouldn't even think of them as students. I would, they were actors, they were artists, they were technicians.
I remember hearing people talking in awed whispers about people like Caitlin Krikorian or Matt Middendorf, and people being like, these people are legit.
Certain students really stood out in just sort of the natural talent. I remember Catalina Rojas was from the beginning a very strong illustrator. Eduardo Aviles came later. He transferred in, and from the beginning just wanted to jump in and get going on it.
Whenever I see Kevin Stutsky on my roster, I'm just like, oh, how am I gonna have a bad day when I've got Kevin Stutsky in my class? Fantastic people. How am I not gonna laugh if I've got Elisa Lickison somewhere in that room?
They were dedicated, to really working their craft and having fun. I am a taskmaster. I'm the one that walks in and says, okay, it's 6:30, time to start rehearsal. And, someone would say, we need to start with a prayer. Oh yeah, okay, yes, we do. Yes, we do need to start with a prayer. They would remind me to just kind of chill out every once in a while. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Overall, I actually kind of like this class. And for the first time probably ever in my teaching life, I'll be sad to see some of them go. Trevor's actually a pretty funny dude. Trevor grew on me. Yeah, JP, very talented guy. Okay, that's it. Whatever. I hate everybody else.
Every time I talk to Andrew Kultinek, I joke about how I always feel that with freshmen, they're so immature, and by the time they graduate, they turn into real great men and women. Andrew then quips back and said he was always mature, so I guess I lose my case. But
naturally, everybody sort of is trying to figure out like what it is, that I'm doing. Like I want to do animation or I want to do games, but nobody really knows what that means. I imagine the film students are exactly the same way. And so then, at some point, once you've taken up classes and they figure out like, oh, this thing is really interesting.
I've seen them just grow in that basic kind of personal relationship that they have both amongst themselves and with me.
That's one of the joys of being a teacher, is to see students growing intellectually, to see them growing in their curiosity about the world.
So this has been a story of growth and change. So there's a really great character arc for this class, but the class is made up of individuals. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G stories all the way to Z and beyond. And it's in the struggle that is the juice of the story. Those are the great stories that these young men and women will tell years from now. And in particular, one of the stories they'll tell is of the great pandemic of 2020. And that became an enormous obstacle through which all of these graduates have struggled.
Part of the growth is interacting with the bitterness that comes with having, like a lousy 2020.
And it's really fantastic to see what the seniors have been able to do with their senior projects, with all the restrictions that they had to work within, and to see what they've been able to do and how they have overcome these challenges.
COVID-19 had a huge negative impact. This class overall, in my mind, tends to be a very optimistic group of students.
And what have they done for me? I always learn by teaching the topics. It re-emphasizes to me in my own business, the fact that I have to maintain integrity, that I have to maintain trustworthiness, that I have to practice my projects in a professional manner. So, I want to thank the students, for always giving me the opportunity to learn myself.
What have they done to impact me? They've taught me a lot of patience, and that's all.
With you guys, I've learned how to have fun, how to be creative, how to improvise, just how to be welcoming, how to be friendly, how to be a good hobbit.
The thing that really gets me out of bed in the morning and down the road to Escondido from LA is the hope that I have helped to shape students to really long for an authentic, living, genuine friendship with Jesus.
My parting advice is really just to pray every day. If they pray every day and just keep in mind who they are, where they're from, where they're going, what they need to do, and they keep bringing that before our Lord.
Once you graduate, you really got to fine-tune your relationship with Jesus. Don't settle for mediocrity. So aim high.
Scott ever say, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. Okay, I've always loved that statement. I'd encourage the students to, live on the edge a bit. Try different solutions. You might find that a new solution you've never done before works better than your old bag of tricks.
Remember that that true creativity isn't just kind of self-expression, but it's a participation in the good and the beautiful that have a source. So wherever you go, stay close to the source, return to the source, return to the sacraments.
I don't think you can impact anything for Christ until Christ has impacted you. So my best advice to you is stay in Jesus, draw your life from Jesus every day. And then whatever you do, it's going to be fine. You're going to bear good fruit without even thinking of bearing fruit. The only thing you need to think about is abide in Jesus today.
I think one of the biggest things I have tried to do is just say, I'm here and I'm with you and you're not alone. And so I hope that is something that I have been able to do for students. And I hope that's something they'll be able to do for others once they leave here. Because the reality is that, as Mother Teresa said, we all belong to each other.
Always, 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 no matter what, believe in God's love for you. Even if you don't feel it, even if you think you failed, he loves you as if you're the only human being on the face of the planet.
Whenever I hear people say, oh, I'm not that good, or, oh, they're putting themselves down, I go, hey, the world is going to do that enough. Don't fuel that fire. You need to be strong. Rely on God, rely on the people who believe in you.
Once you get out of college, it's really difficult to maintain your creativity because I'm not requiring it of you anymore. You need people around you that are going to continue to push you, continue to motivate you, and you need them for your faith. Right? For all of this, you cannot do it alone.
The one thing that God said that was not good was man being alone, humanity being alone. We need each other. We need something greater than us to hold us. You cannot make your movies by yourself. You cannot do life by yourself. So when you leave here and you go, I don't know how to do this alone, don't. Cry out for help. Help is on the way.
Good job. You made it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to everyone graduating. It's a big honor to graduate.
I love these guys a lot, and I pray for them a lot. And so I really appreciate being included in this.
All of you are incredible.
Don't do interviews on Zoom. Your lighting's going to be terrible. Your sound's going to be bad.
It's always very hurtful when people are leaving. You're like, oh, anybody, and then they sell their books, and then they'll take pictures, and my readers are there, and the picture of books that they're selling, and I'm just like, tear. But it's fine because they probably didn't do the reading anyway.
I always enjoy dressing up like the leader when we focus on those leaders. And I got to admit, Amelia Earhart, I was tempted to wear lipstick, but I didn't. My wife said, you better not.
Look, when all else fails, the vanilla shake at In-N-Out, that'll get you through a lot of life trials.
You want to know how we've seen them grow? It's kind of a personal question, right? We don't want to talk about students who have either got bigger or put on some weight. Most students are a little self-conscious about that, especially when they come in. So
it's important to remember that I'm not allowed to actually teach freshmen. I believe it's because I scare them.
If you need anything, please feel free to contact Steve Cramp at any time, just day or night. He's always there for you.
You could probably cut that part out.